Hello and welcome to this edition of 401k and Beyond in our series called Recordkeeper Connect. My name is Brian Williams from Northshire Consulting, a Connecticut-based investment advisory firm. Connecticut is one of those states that's rolling out a mandate for small businesses. Organizations with 5 or more employees are required to have a workplace retirement account set up by the end of March 2023. As an independent investment advisory firm, we can implement any solution we see fit. A key function of my role is to research 401k and other retirement plan record-keeping platforms to make sure that I'm delivering the very best value to small businesses and their employees. So we took that responsibility and we said, why don't we make this a video series and have these conversations out in the open and give the opportunity for record keepers to connect with my audience and directly to the folks that they are servicing here in Connecticut and beyond through 401k and beyond. In this episode, we had the opportunity to sit down with Saad Zariff of 401go.
No, thanks, Brian. Great to be here. So 401go is a fintech company that allows small businesses to set up retirement plans quite seamlessly. We quite take pride in the fact that it takes about 15 minutes for any small business of any size to be able to set up a retirement plan with us. So we kind of cut back all of the noise, all of the complications, and the detailed processes of setting up a plan in a very simple and an impactful way using our technology.
What's the feedback you've heard from employers? Are they surprised it's so easy, or do they feel like they're missing out on something?
No, that's funny you say that. I think it's almost like something that's at times for people is too good to be true. That's for sure. Where they're like, wait, what do you mean by in 15 minutes? If I work with any of the bigger providers, I will not name them, but it's more like, hey, that's a complicated process. I have to go through paperwork and it's really costly. And I don't know if that's something I even want to consider. So it's definitely a surprise for people to see that, oh, that in 15 minutes I can set up a plan and have all my employees ready to contribute as well as and when possible. So it's definitely a bit of a surprise element that we built something that, again, is not based on any legacy technology at all. It's completely built from scratch for the purpose of making the process of setting up a retirement plan easy and seamless.
Like the real estate or property business, it's like, how many times do they knock down a drugstore completely only to put up another drugstore in the exact same spot, right? It's just sometimes new construction, it's just easier, and in theory, you want to say, why don't they just use the old building? But it's just easier to knock it down and start over again. I kind of feel like that's what you folks have done at 401go.
Oh, absolutely. And I think credit definitely goes to the founders like Dan, Nate, who's the CTO, Dan being the CEO, and Jared, who's very knowledgeable in the 401k space. That these guys brought a ton of experience from being entrepreneurs, coming from this space, to come together and say, how do we solve this problem for, millions of small businesses that are out there, which are getting impacted by not setting up a plan or paying in, through their noses, really, in order to have a plan set up to offer something that is financially rewarding for themselves and their employees.
And we started off talking about the states and some of the mandates. In Connecticut, we're right in the process of coming up on our final deadline, which is March 31st of 2023. And that's for businesses with 5 or more employees. They're following the lead of California, Oregon, Illinois, and a bunch of other states are at various degrees in the process. What sort of success have you seen in those states that already have these mandates in place?
That's a great question. I mean, for us, it started with California last year when the mandate kicked in there. We definitely saw that a lot of business lacked the knowledge of why this is happening and how will that impact their business. So a lot of times we would have businesses come to us and say, hey, I'm about to actually get fined, so I want to make sure I have a 401k plan set up. That was literally the conversation. In some cases, some of them did set up the state-based plan and then realized that that is not truly what they are looking for. It wasn't giving them the true value that they wanted from having a retirement plan. It did come with certain limitations and restrictions. And that's where we kind of saw a lot of success in once the state-based plans were executed and businesses were using them, they were able to have a bit of a comparison on what we have to offer versus what they're getting from the state. The adoption rate was definitely a bit more questionable for some businesses. Businesses that were more like, hey, I'm being forced to do this, I have to get it done. But once they got into it, they're like, wait a minute, there's a lot more to it in terms of value than I see. Let me make sure this is being done the right way. And that's why I feel like that our platform gave a lot of value to people. We even have now, Brian, folks that have their Cal Savers requirements fulfilled, but they want to end that and come to us basically, simply because they're seeing the value proposition that we have to offer.
Right. There's always a couple different components. I always say that there's the mandate and the deadlines, and then there's also the state programs themselves. And I think a lot of times that gets tangled up and confused. Business owners will read the notice that they got that says, "Wait, I need to sign up for the state program by the end of March." Like I get that question a lot. So, do you feel like business owners understand that piece of it, and do you feel like the state communications in general have been pretty clear or not?
Great question. I'm even looking at Colorado now. That's going to come up soon, and like you said about Connecticut, I feel like that it's definitely. I mean, look. At the end of the day, small businesses are busy doing what they do best. They are growing their own business. They're providing a service, what have you. This is the last thing on their mind. This is the last thing that they want to be burdened with, basically. And I think that's what a lot of them are feeling as well. That I think the states are not really doing an amazing job of making sure the right educational content is available for businesses to make the right choice. It's more about like, well, this rule is about to kick in, you have to comply with it. And that's what most people are thinking. But then when they have options, they have choices, they have a bit of educational content in front of them, then they're able to make a much more wiser decision as well.
Definitely. What do you feel like small businesses' biggest concern around a retirement plan are?
Oh, great question. I think a lot of times the first thing that comes to mind for a small business is the cost. They always assume that, hey, it's really expensive for me to set up a plan. Granted, with Secure 2.0 now, there's so many credits in place that a small business can actually benefit from setting up a retirement plan. So it's usually the cost. And the second, I'll say the amount of assumed labor hours required for managing a 401k plan. At 401go, we do all the management ourselves. We work with a lot of financial advisors that bring plans to us. And that's one advantage for most plans. I mean, it's really important to have a financial advisor in your pocket, someone that really knows their stuff, that can help the business out on many levels. And businesses don't understand that if they were to put a financial advisor on their books that's advising the business, technically that's also a tax benefit for them. They can speak to a tax consultant about that. But I think most certainly the two major things I've seen is the cost, that oh, it's too expensive for me to set one, and it's really complicated. How will we manage it? So those are the two areas that we see the biggest questions that people come from. I mean, that people ask.
And once they get past that initial fear of costs and times, what type of benefits or in the industry we'd call it, plan specs, or what type of interesting things are they looking to add in their plan, whether they're trying to do something for themselves or their employees? What sort of features do you see them looking to add?
Great question. I think we've built a platform that allows a multitude of different features where they can design their own plan, they can design their own fund that they want to invest in. They have a little financial literacy bucket there as well, where they can sync their bank accounts and be able to look at their budget and look at, hey, how much did I spend on groceries and stuff? Or am I paying too much in utilities? Like that's all built in. So most certainly, once people get the hang of it, once they understand what it is, they definitely are more keen on, hey, which funds can I invest in? How much should I be investing? That question comes up a lot, and we're always like, hey, if you have a financial advisor, he or she can actually advise you better on this. So in terms of features, I think people are definitely becoming more money savvy as time goes by because there's so much information out there. It's all about how they apply the knowledge that they earn or gain. And I would say definitely our financial literacy tools is something that people tend to enjoy quite a lot and really want to take advantage of. And then our strategy builder, which is pretty much building out your own portfolio, plugging in your age, your time horizon, and what kind of funds you want to invest in. So it takes away the thinking of which ones to invest in when small businesses or individuals are thinking about themselves. So definitely being able to kind of customize their own investments is something people tend to enjoy, and then taking advantage of the financial literacy tools that we have.
Right. And as you know, the most important thing is A, that they participate, B, the amount of money that they put in over the period of time and the length of time that they're able to put it away. I think historically we've spent too much time having discussions around things that don't matter as much, but knowledge is certainly very helpful. But if you're 22 years old and you don't know a single thing about a mutual fund and you save for the next 50 years inside a target date fund, you'll probably do just fine without ever knowing anything else. So I think the key is to motivate them to get involved and enroll and take advantage of the time that they have.
Exactly. And I think we've seen that happen with some of the business owners who actually want to actively make sure that their business has a higher participation rate from their employees to contribute as well. So we're definitely seeing that happen where certain employees are like, hey, the employer wants the employees to be able to contribute, to be able to take advantage of this and have that knowledge as well. So you're absolutely on the money with that.
Beyond that, when people are dealing with a company like yours who's so technology based, how do you convince them that they're not just dealing with robots and that there's actually a human side that could potentially help them out, right? I mean, sometimes people do things online and they feel like there's no service on the other end. So how do you balance that?
That's very true. I think the one thing we're big on is people first at 401 Go. So fintech is only as successful as the people that are working there and the customer support that's provided. So we always tell people that yes, we're a fintech company, this is all technology, but we have the human element associated with it that we're really proud of. You will have someone to always work with, you'll have a customer service agent that's available to help you out as well. Technology is there to make things easy, but the human element is there to make sure you understand how to use the technology that we're offering you. So that's one big thing we definitely educate people on, that fintech cannot survive without the human element. Simple as that. You still need that human interaction very much, and especially when it comes to people's money, you know it better than most. Being in the space that people want someone to talk to, they want someone to explain things to them as well, rather than just following steps, basically. So we definitely say focus on that a lot.
Yeah, people are as diverse as the investments are. I mean, some people
Yeah,
love to go online and play with calculators and watch the charts go up and down. And other people just want to pick up the phone and have a conversation.
yeah,
So
exactly.
we as an industry need to meet people where they are and communicate how they're comfortable to being communicated. Sounds like you're pretty passionate about this. And before we started recording, we talked a little bit about your background, but what makes you passionate about the 401k world and what sort of brought you down this avenue to work for Recordkeeper?
Oh, that it's funny you say that. So I kind of started my career as an accountant, then worked in the financial services space. I was a Series 65 registered investment advisor as well. But then when I fell into the fintech space by chance working for a robo advisor, that's why I kind of realized that people truly lack knowledge about how powerful investing can be, whether it's short term or long term. And retirement accounts is a great way to become a forced millionaire. That's how I like to put it. That's why it made sense. That I didn't know much about it. No one really told me about it back home in England where I grew up. You would work, you get a pension, you set it and forget it, but you don't know what's happening in it. After moving to America, working on Wall Street, and in Chicago, Maryland, and now based out of Utah, where 401 Go is, it kind of taught me a lot about the investment space, and that really only built my interest more in about, okay, are we as humans looking for only instant gratification, or can we put our emotions aside and only focus on the long term gains that we want to achieve? And that just made a lot more sense with the retirement space.
And obviously, you want to be attracted to an industry and a company that's growing. I mean, certainly on the advisor side, the state mandates, Secure 2.0, which we touched on. I mean, a ton of tax credits, the technology, the fee. I mean, I think it's hard for me not to sound salesy sometimes, or to sound because I am so excited about it. But there's never been a better time for the local 5-person bakery or whatever to start a retirement plan for their employees. And I'm sure you guys feel, what do you kind of see as the growth projections, just not just for 401 Go, although you can talk about that, but kind of the industry as a whole?
Oh my God. I think what people are underestimating right now is how impactful the Secure 2.0 is going to be, and all these state mandates kicking in. I mean, roughly with overall about 6 million small businesses out there, in 3 years, due to these government regulations, we believe that number is going to quadruple of retirement plans. We've also seen that businesses that have 10 or less employees, only 28% of them are currently offering a retirement plan. Between 25 and 49 employees is about 63% of businesses that are offering a retirement plan. So from our point of view as 401 Go, building technology that allows seamlessly and very quickly for you to set up a plan with that human element attached allows you to take advantage of these things in a timely manner. But then the fact that with all these regulations coming into place, it's only going to compound more. It's only going to grow more, which means financial advisors ought to take the retirement planning industry more seriously, especially in the small business space, because this is going to impact a lot of businesses moving forward. So just looking at that data alone of 28% of small businesses with 10 or less employees offering a plan right now, and only 63% between 25 to 49 employees. That alone has a ton of potential, in my opinion. That's what we're looking at as a trend that's definitely going to change moving forward.
What's that one message you'd like to get out if you were in front of that, 5-person bakery or smaller manufacturing shop who said, I just don't have the time or money or bandwidth to do this right now?
I'll just say, like, act, don't react. In reality, I mean, it's very easy to look for instant gratification now rather than long-term gains that you can get. All these small businesses work really hard for what they do. It will be a shame to let that money kind of go to waste to some extent. Either you're letting Uncle Sam take that money away, or you put it in a retirement account and defer your taxes and let that grow for you. So even a little bit of change, even if it's 1% to 3% of your income that's going in a retirement plan, just imagine what that compound growth 15, 20, 25 years from now could potentially look like for you.
To the business owners themselves, I mean, it's, we have a plan document, we have the plan description, all that, but nothing is really, really, truly etched in stone. If you decide in 3 or 5 years you want to terminate the plan, you can do that. If you want to change plan features, you can do that. Investments can change at any time. It's, pretty easy to kick off a bad advisor and put a good advisor like me on. Like, there's a bunch of
There
different
you
things
go.
you can do to change the program later on. So you don't have to be paralyzed by, the number of choices that are in front of you from the start, right?
No, not at all. You said it so well.
Oh, thank you. That's easy enough. So one of the big issues I've seen is the opt-out rates from the state, meaning the number of employees. They're all automatically signed up for these, usually in the state programs, and then employees are logging on and saying, you know what, I don't want to participate in this. And I'm finding a lot of the states have higher opt-out rates than some of the 401k programs. So I don't know if you have any idea what the opt-out rates are at your firm, or have any comments about that across the industry.
Good questions. When we do keep, I mean, the one thing that's important to us is obsessing over our clients, making sure we understand what they need and giving them what they want. That's why having the flexibility within our own tech team to make sure we're building things out the right way. Our opt-out rate is pretty low. Quite honestly, we do the big difference we see, by the way, is, Brian, when a business is onboarded and if we do end up hosting a financial literacy workshop for their employees, we see the opt-out rate go up. We currently recently did that with one company that will have a 96% participation rate right now. And the only reason the other one or two people will not participate because they're not eligible right now.
Right.
That's the difference, basically. So I think with those state mandates, you're absolutely right. With these state-based plans, because they're automatically being opted in and there's no education, knowledge, or information provided to them it's like, I'm not doing this. This doesn't make sense to me. So with us, at least we make sure that we're providing them the right content, we're sending them the right messages as well, and the right information for them to make an informed decision. And that's why we see a very low opt-out rate. The only time it is because someone's personal circumstances has changed and they really need every single penny they can get hold of, or it's simply because they're like, well, I'm not even working here anymore. So the only time I see an opt-out rate is someone has like left that job and they've moved away and they don't want to be participating in that 401k anymore, basically. So knowledge is power. I think the more education is correctly provided to people, the better decision these business owners and employees will make.
Yep. And I've found that, even though you're a tech company and I'm pretty tech focused advisor too, there's still nothing that beats, standing in front of a group of people in the break room, going over, some projections or whatever. That face-to-face contact and having somebody to reach out to is definitely can help participation rates, rather than you just opt in, have the employees opt in, hope that the good happens, and then just kind of walk away and go on to the next business. That's doesn't seem to be working as well as the combination of the in-person stuff and also the technology tools that are out there.
Absolutely. And again, knowledge is power. I think if people are open-minded enough to willing to learn and ask the question, there's no right or wrong question when it comes to financial well-being or investing, pretty much. But it's more about just being open-minded enough to look at the information that's being provided to you and then making a sound judgment on it. I think that's really important.
All right. And so whether it's advisors or business owners or plan participants, what's that one message you'd like to get out about 401 Go or the retirement plan industry in general?
Um, Honestly, we're not here to reinvent the wheel, but we're definitely here to speed things up, to save time and money for others. And I think that's why we built the platform that we have, where financial advisors have their own portal where they can kind of work with their clients. We have a robust platform for small businesses without worry or stress because we do all the management work for you. So it's more like come to us, let us take care of all of your stress so you can focus on the bigger picture, which is your business, while also saving for your retirement.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Saad. I appreciate your time, and good luck getting all these plans signed up.
Thank you so much, Brian, for having me. I appreciate it.